Let me welcome Matt, Eric, Chandra, and Nick. Please. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, man.
Chandra. Thank you. Thank you, Eric.
Awesome. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
I am super thrilled to be hosting this session today. We're going to talk about really AI at scale, right? Personalizing experiences with Tealium. And I think about AI-driven personalization just at a high level. And we've heard it between Saul's presentation, the stuff that Jeff mentioned in the keynote, what our customers are talking about in their different sessions. I think everybody wants to do it. I really like the way that Saul talked about it, about how teen topics and AI are very similar, right? It's like everyone's talking about this, but very few people are doing it, and the people that are doing it may not be doing it well. So I think when I look at doing the motion of getting AI into your workflow is one thing, but then how you actually scale it, managing privacy, compliance, respecting the law in the local area to be able to work through those types of things is incredibly complicated. The session that had the Snowflake integration and the prompt to be able to look at how Mutual of Omaha could solicit somebody for a dental plan, it's phenomenal what can go on in the background to get that served up. And when we think about AI, it's like, well, if you look at the data is fragmented. That's a big challenge. How do I get the pieces of information together? I then have maybe a process of delay for activation, right? We talked about this within call centers yesterday. The average time that in terms of like data freshness for a call center agent is usually 3 days behind the activity of the individuals working with that brand. So if a call center agent's trying to help you with something you're doing, typically their data is way behind what you're actually doing. So those things are interesting. And when you think about the real-time relevance of being able to pull all this information together, it's a challenge. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to gather these folks today to be able to talk about, if we take out the hype and we start to talk about the reality of what we can do, we've got ways to discuss not only the challenges that brands are facing, but the strategies that everybody on this panel is having great success by talking brands through and working at scale to be able to do AI-driven personalization. So definitely want to let everybody introduce themselves. But we've got folks on stage today, Chandra from Capgemini, Nick with Choreograph, and Eric from Monetate. So I'd like to allow everybody to intro themselves. Why don't you kick it off, Nick?
Great. Hi, so I'm Nick Albertini, Chief Technology Officer at Choreograph. We are the data and technology company within WPP. If you know the ad tech space or know the advertising space, we sit right up against all the major media buyers like Mindshare, Wavemaker, and Essence Mediacom, and so on. Our team specifically works very heavily in client-side platforms, custom solutions, cloud enablement, analysis, measurement design, and so on. So we've been partnering with Tealium for, I want to say 12 and a half-ish years. So a very long time in quite a few flavors. So very happy to be here.
Hi everyone, this is Chandra here. I lead the global charter for our front office transformation. So which is, you think of anything to do with customers, and customer experience, whether it is contact centers, whether it is marketing, whether it is product. So we are at the center of how do we drive those experiences. Obviously we have a long history from an experience perspective. Proud to say that we created the design system for Apple. So we were talking about Samsung. We built the whole design system for Samsung, for Sony. So obviously, so we have been at the center of it, and I have the privilege of looking at not just the marketing related experiences, but also the contact center experiences, the sales experiences, and all these complexities within the regulated environment of financial services. How do you really deal with it? And that's what we, so we're excited to share those insights with you all.
Great. Hello, everyone. Eric Rosado, Chief Product Officer for Monetate. So at Monetate, we help our clients deliver, what that exact right experience is to each and every individual customer for the clients and brands that we work with, and kind of leveraging AI throughout that entire customer journey. And we do that in really three ways. The first way is AI-powered personalization, right? So what's the right content to deliver? What's the right image or the right copy, or even what's the UI screen layout or the screen format that's gonna make sense for a given individual. The second area is around experimentation, right? So A/B testing and dynamic testing. That allows clients obviously to iterate, to improve, to reach better experiences, to deliver better experiences to all of their customers, and then hit those critical KPIs. And then the final area, it's a collection of discovery capabilities, things like AI personalized site search, AI personalized browse and category pages, certainly product recommendations, dynamic product bundling, all of which helps clients make sure that their customers are finding or discovering what that exact right thing is in the moment that they're looking for.
Great. I mean, I think when we look at the time we've got today and what we can cover, I think hearing the ways that AI is helping folks is, everybody gets that. But when we look at transforming customer experience, its execution is not easy at this level. And when I think about challenges and what you guys have seen, I'll kind of throw the question out there. I mean, we'll start with Chandra. Like, when you think about unexpected challenges you face when deploying AI at scale, what are some of the things you've seen pop up, and then how have you been able to overcome them?
Yeah, I think when we talk about customer experience, the biggest challenge in terms of building customer experience within large organizations is just sheer alignment. It's more an internal challenge than an external challenge. Everybody knows how to solve the problem, but getting everybody to solve the problem is a hard thing. So that's number one. How do you get everybody to agree on a common vision, objective, get them to kind of, do the right thing for their customers? The second thing that is a real hard challenge, and I'll probably take an example, we built for one of the investment banking clients, so where they wanted to build a real good experience for their sell side, for their buy side parties. These are the sell side customers. And over there, what we found as a big challenge to give that experience is actually getting data. Their data was like 2 days old. So they are like, they think of themselves like a publishing house, but the data is like 2 days old. And how do you give the experience that a publishing house can give? And those are areas they are not aware of what MarTech is using on the other side for years. They are not kind of aware of those things. So it is also about, helping them explain there are tools that are there in place which can help you to, get those real-time data. And I was actually sharing with Jeff that customer I was talking, early morning, and they went live, and they were saying the best recommendation you guys gave was to collect real-time data. And now we are able to really see what our customers are consuming and where they are consuming, and we are able to personalize stuff. So.
Very interesting. Nick?
Yeah, I want to take it back a little bit, a step further, is that the challenges that we run into is that we have clients who are trying to do AI for AI's sake, just because they heard the word AI and they see it everywhere. So they're like, well, let's build a ChatGPT. So they have, that's a real struggle when they don't have the people, they don't have the data, and they don't have the technology necessarily to really to do that. A lot of times we run into the problems that they think that AI is this magical thing that's just going to appear, and they don't realize that to Sav's and Drew's presentation yesterday, if you didn't miss it, the crawl, walk, run, it's very important. Most of our clients aren't even in a crawl phase. We want them to be, and we guide them to be, and we give them all the tools and all the people to be able to do so. But whether or not they actually embrace it, there's that real organizational changes that have to occur in order to use AI to be able to personalize, to create experiences, and to actually change what their consumers are seeing and how they're interacting with their brand. They're not there. They need to establish the use cases in order to actually get there. Win 1, then win 2, then win 3, but realize that the timeline is lengthy, extremely lengthy.
It's very interesting, because you look at AI for AI's sake, right? We can't just go out and create something, even though we see money being dumped into these sectors and silos of businesses of just go fix it with AI, and it's not that simple. So it's great to hear kind of back up, take that moment to have a strategy, have a plan. Eric, what sort of stuff do you see?
Yeah. Maybe some years ago you might have said, oh, there's a technology challenge, right? And there may be some of that, but we don't really see a tech issue. The AI is certainly way advanced, super advanced, to make the right decision in terms of what the right personalized experience at a given moment should be. I mean, the data with great systems like Tealium is there and available and ready to go to fuel those decisions. The tech solution area, companies like Monetate to be able to activate that data and deliver that digital experience. So all that's kind of there. The thing we see a lot is very similar in that we see sort of a structural organization challenge in that many companies we work with, most companies we work with, divvy up their teams along lines of customer interaction channel. So there's a web team, there's a different mobile app team, there's a different email team, there's certainly a different in-store operations team for the physical stores, and even beyond that, the web team will have different teams that take a chunk of the web experience, and be homepage to browse, and a different chunk that are doing a different part of the web experience. So it's a people challenge, similar to Nick and Chandra. It's a team challenge within the company. Not that it can't be overcome. We do overcome it, and with some very, solid foundational ways. But it can be hard to get different teams within the same company to work together, try to achieve the same goal, problem solve together, and things that we all understand and deal with on a day-to-day basis.
I mean, the tech is there. It's already
Totally,
It's already
100%.
ready.
100%.
But you advanced the tech, but you didn't teach the people how to do it.
It's those pesky people that get in the way still.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, one of the things that we were talking about backstage, like when you think about myths versus reality, like what are some of those things that, with what Eric's saying, like what are some of the myths that pop up that really, when you get the data and you start to look at this, are creating challenges for you?
Gosh, the biggest one that we see is that you can just slap any model directly onto any data set and it'll just work. That Gemini is amazing, and that Copilot is phenomenal, and that Llama will just do everything for you. And every time I hear that, I just think like Llama Mama for those who have kids. But that's not the case. It's too generic. You have to fine tune it. You have to have data scientists that actually can feed it with your data, not with any generic data set. It's really powerful to show that there's these huge, massive models at the core of large AI systems. But if you don't fine tune it, we can even say on the edge, right? If you don't fine tune it with your first party data, your zero party data, that your customers are raising their hands and say they want to interact with your brand, then that model will, lack of a better term, I'm not a data scientist, so I'll say it'll hallucinate, right? It'll be confused. The outputs will be incorrect, will be wrong. And now suddenly you're changing, in our panels about personalized experience, and you're personalizing the experience in the wrong way because it's too generic and the model doesn't know any better. It's not AI's fault. It's your fault because you didn't train the model. You got caught up in ChatGPT and the big consumer fluff with that. I think I said earlier, the ChatGPT is for your high schooler to cheat on their exams with. It's not for you to build a real consumer-facing application.
Yeah, I think I fully agree with that. The myth versus the reality. Interestingly, I was talking to one of the customers yesterday, and they were 3 months back when I spoke to them. I was telling them that you guys should be looking at, doing some of these things in terms of getting better handle of your data and better reporting and all of that stuff. They said, don't worry about it. We have a lot of ChatGPT engineers, who are building great models and stuff like that. And so when I spoke to them yesterday, I said, okay, did you go live with anything? I mean, how are things? And she was like, I'm happy with what came out. And the biggest myth versus reality is, it's not about the tools that we have. We have always had tools. We have always had, all the models, all the best of the models. What people forget to understand is there is an element of converting all the tool into experience. So the product management, becomes a very, very, very important angle. And guess what? A lot of companies don't have, they claim agile and all of that stuff. If you peel and then go into who's doing the actual product management job, who's doing, the actual creating the experience of the customer that the customer needs, and how do you then leverage all of these, tools to kind of, deliver that experience, that is a big challenge in a number of companies even today.
Yeah.
So I told her that what you have done is a science project, and you have to stop doing science project and actually do experiences for the customers.
Yeah, and I'd say like with that, can you share any recent wins, any kind of success stories that you are really proud of with the clients that you have? You don't have to necessarily name the client, obviously, but just some good successes around a use case that made it to light.
Actually, the one that I love the most is there was another customer of mine who basically came and said, we want to, I met her in Salesforce conference and I asked her, and she was on the business side of research, and it was, you are just on the business side of research, you are a research head in an investment bank, what actually brings you to a Salesforce conference, right? Which is a technology conference. She said, no, we have a lot of data and we want to actually personalize better. So my first question to her was, why do you even personalize? So she basically said, ends up to be, what she really wants to do is, they have a process called broker votes, right? Broker votes is essentially, how you rate. So every buy side rates the sell side, brokers in terms of how well they have done. And based on the broker votes, they get paid, they get popular, and based on that, the investment bank gets more money essentially, right? Mm-hmm. So ultimately, what is the problem that you are trying to solve is how do you create that engagement with all that you have to your customers. So the problem you're trying to solve is an engagement problem, which results in what is called as a broker vote. And so let's focus on what the engagement is, and to drive that engagement, what do you really need? You need data. And that's where I was telling, their data was 2 or 3 days old. So you got to first create the experience, and then you got to say, for driving this particular experience, what are the set of things you need to bring in place? And data becomes an important aspect in that. Of course, there is models and everything, but fundamentally you need to have collections, sorted.
Clean.
To then, exactly.
Clean, consented, enriched. I've heard that a couple of times this past couple of days. So.
That's still my favorite one.
That's amazing. And then, Eric, when you look at feeding your app, like what are some basic ways the platform benefits from this?
Love that last example, Chandra. It's the ones that I find the sort of coolest, most interesting, the ones that sort of ring the KPIs higher and higher are the ones that really let the AI take advantage of different kinds of data to make the right decision, instantly in that moment, right? And so in those different kinds of data, it can be sort of more enduring customer data, right? So that can change over time, but it also has attributes that maybe not are changing day in and day out, right? And I'll describe that in just a bit. In addition to real time, in session, in the moment. What's that person, what's that customer trying to do, trying to achieve, trying to look for? What are they doing in that digital experience that we're trying to solve for? And then the third kind is sort of contextual signals, contextual data. The best example is probably where are they located, right? What's the geolocation? So we've got a client that did a really cool job with all those things in the beauty products industry, right? So makeup and the like. And in that industry, in that company, their customers give to them willingly information about, hey, what's my eye color? What's my skin type? What's my hair type? Curly, straight, wavy, whatever it is, because those things make a difference in makeup, in skincare routines. And so that beauty company has that available, and so they know what each and every one of their customers has as those attributes. When you combine that with what that person is doing real time in session, what are they trying to do? Are they trying to get guidance on a new skincare routine? Are they trying to look for a new product that matches, hair type or hair color? And where are they located? Are they within a certain radius of maybe one of the stores, right? And so what we're able to do is tie that together and tee up the right guidance, the right how-tos. Here's how you leverage and do the new skincare routine. Certainly the right products based on, the hair color or the hair type or whatever it is. And then in a really cool way, hey, if they're close enough to a store, if you want to pop into that retail location, we've got a sample already ready for you to go, a free sample. And we've got an associate who can kind of guide you through that. So foundationally, they're tying together these three different kinds of data, and then the AI is able to make that right call, deliver that in a digital experience, and that's a pretty wow thing.
That's pretty impressive. Yeah. I mean, Nick, what sort of things have you seen lately that have come out and
Yeah, the area that we work is we're working with major media buyers is a little different because they struggle with measurement because of the sheer volume of data and deprecation cookies. I know we haven't really talked about that much at this conference because we're way beyond that, even though it never happened. But one of the problems is that we need a way to measure. So we developed a solution using artificial intelligence that picks the best model that's actually going to fit the customer's data the best for attribution. So we call it multi-model attribution. And essentially, we take huge data sets, whether it be from Google Marketing Platform, Trade Desk, and so on, shove it into the model, allow the model to train upon it, and then identify which one best fits. Because we've identified that the customer journey or the customer experience across the different brands and different verticals is vastly different. And your typical run-of-the-mill RBA or MTA, all the A's for attribution does not fit most journeys. It fits retail really great. It's linear. It's very simple in most cases. But when you look at auto, when you look at FinServ, when you look at travel, et cetera, you have to be reliant on a solution that can help you pick the best model. And that's where we apply artificial intelligence and have seen the best wins. And then put on top of it, because media teams, shouldn't be grading their own homework. Well, then we apply an agentic AI solution on top of it that you can now interact with, ask questions of, and then pull levers within the buy-side platforms as a result of those findings.
I mean, it sounds so science fiction-like, right? In the book cover that Jeff put up yesterday, thinking about the Matrix and all these different things, we really seem to be going in this direction where when you get it right, and like what Eric was saying, and it gives you the right data at the right moment, and it helps you move that experience forward. Yeah. You build brand loyalty. You just create a better overall experience. I've had some great experiences lately with just in the moment personalization with brands like a USAA and others, where they really give just such an amazing experience, and they lead with that. In the panel session we did yesterday with Four Seasons, it is also one of those things where you just see that brand identity has to be preserved. It's very much a part of the identity of the organization. It's very cherished, and it's something that can't be tarnished by having a bad experience. Exactly. And so whenever I think about where we are now and all the things you guys are doing, this is phenomenal. But then I think about the future. And I think about what are we going to be doing? What are we going to talk about in 12 months? I mean, where are we going to be? So when I think about what you're talking about now, and I'll keep you going, Nick, on kind of your thoughts, like what do you see are those big opportunities in the motion for doing this like 12 months from now?
Sure. So I was talking about multi-model a second ago, but now I'm talking about multimodal because we're seeing the advances in AI. I mean, they've already been there, but really the tools are available to analyze all types of creative, whether that be copy, whether that be video, whether that be images and so on. My colleague Steve and I are going to a hackathon with Google to play around with the Visionaire solution, which is the ability to take videos that already exist and completely change them, multiple copies, multiple iterations of that, all using AI very quickly, all with the voiceover as well. So all the components that go into making an amazing advertisement that you might see in the Super Bowl even, but make it make sense as opposed to some weird AI thing that everyone's a little uncomfortable, a little cringy about. But AI has advanced so far that it's touching everything that you see at this point.
Very cool. Sean?
Yeah. So I come from a regulated industry, so I'm not going to be as classy as what Nick is. But
you make all the money. It's okay.
So the first thing is, do we know that most of the banks takes 3 to 6 months to launch a simple offer? I think my first prediction is that becoming straight through processing is a big win for a number of CMOs. They spend 60% of money on regulations and testing into marketing. So if that problem is solved 12 months from now, that's a huge win.
Yep.
And on the sales side, I think the future of CRM is no CRM. CRM is just a glorified database. I ran a CRM company, so I call it. So I think agentic is going to drive a lot of interactions because there's no value exchange between the salespeople and the CRM. It's like timesheet management system. How many of us actually like to go and put times into timesheet management system here? Nobody likes it because there is no value from it, So that's going to get killed completely,
Okay.
And we are seeing it happening. The last one is the entire contact center. Thanks for bringing that up. It's horrible. If you if you walk into whether insurance companies or whether the data is always 3 days old. It's not just 3 days old. They don't have access to data. They only have access to forecasts and this thing so that they can move people into shifts and all of that stuff. They don't have any customer data. Somebody goes to a website, does something, calls up a contact center. The contact center reps have no clue that they have done all that. Yes, there is, all the hyperscalers are talking about, we are having agent assist, that assist, this assist. Yeah. At the end of the day, they don't have fundamental thing in place, which is how do you get all this data so that you can power those experiences. Yeah. So I think that will fundamentally shift in the next 12 months.
That's great. Eric, any final thoughts, like with kind of your perspective on where you see the future?
Yeah, like I feel compelled to say generative AI, right? So what does Gen AI do? It creates content, images, words, etc. What has been sort of the traditional limiting factor for marketing teams is they have 3 versions, 5 versions, 7 versions of an image or copy or whatever it is. And so with the ability of the machine now, Gen AI, to create unlimited, content, Matt, your images and words can be different than mine and Chandra's and Nick's and everyone else in this room, because Gen AI can create it at scale instantaneously. We're not there yet, but as we work out all of the reputational risks and the legal risks and all of the risks, that's going to unleash true one-to-one hyper-personalization.
Excellent. Well, I know we are at time, but we've kind of walked everybody through a couple of different things, right? Challenges, myths, where we're at, where we're going. I encourage everybody to engage with the panelists during the next break. But a huge thank you for you guys to be able to make the time today, come out here, and to be able to do this session. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Pleasure.